you drug me to therapy because I was humping you too much in the kitchen.
You're like, just whenever he sees me, he's just like all over me, and I just like can't stand it.
All right, sorry, ladies.
like,
let me
dude,
just ask a question. Does it turn you on? Does it make you want to take your clothes off and put your PUSSY in your husband's face when he comes up behind you, grabs your hips, just starts? That was the foreplay I was getting. I wonder why in therapy I brought up, I don't like being humped like a freaking animal. This is not a child's program. No censorship here. If this goes well and we don't kill each other, we'll probably do more of these. All right, welcome, guys. First podcast with the star of the show, or so he says. This is Max Anderson. Would you like to introduce yourself to the people?
I think the people know who I am.
Who are you?
I'm your lover. Your sweet, sweet lover.
This is going to go so good, guys. Can't wait. What else? Like, what do you do for a living, Max? Tell us about yourself.
I take a lot of orders from you. That's for one. It's a report directly to the boss, the HBIC. No, we work together. Mm-hmm. We raise kids together. Yeah. Multiple businesses together. Try to be husband and wife on occasion. I'm your soulmate, as they say.
It's true. Spirit mate. That's what I say.
Spirit mate. Yeah, that's right.
That is true.
That's right.
All right. I just want to say I'm just going to be 100% myself. No censorship here. So on Instagram, I try to be myself, but they still censor me. But here, 100%. So this is not a child's program, let's just say. Correct. And I want you to be yourself too, because he has this thing he does, where he like tries to just like smooth over this like extra charm. And I just want you to be raw, organically. You show the people who you really are. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Today we're going to dive in. We're going to do just an FAQ. This is from the community on Instagram. The realest, baddest community there is. I love you all so much. We're just going to take random questions. I just screenshotted them, and I'll just kind of like go through the screenshots and just like see what resonates that I want to ask or talk about with Max. There's really no like rhyme or reason for why I'm picking them. I'll just pick random ones. And then we'll have more structure once we do like more podcasts. If this goes well and we don't kill each other, we'll probably do more of these. So we'll just dive in with a question. And I just want to say, before you start answering the question, just be yourself. I don't
know what that means.
Don't add extra any fluff or like charm.
What does that mean? I don't understand.
Sometimes when we go in and do these like Instagram lives or whatever, you like are very I feel like calculated with like your responses. Just like say organically what comes to mind. Just.
But how would I not be organically calculated?
What do you mean?
Like what do you like? You act like I'm like this playing this role of somebody who I'm
You
not.
kind of do.
When have you known me not to be calculated?
Well, when you're with me, you're not really calculated.
I'm calculated 24/7.
Okay.
What are your?
Whatever. Okay, let's just dive in then. All right, who has the higher sex drive? Easy, me. Next question.
Oh, time out. Time out. Oh, jeez, this is rich. We could.
My
spend a whole
assistant's
episode
here,
on
by the way,
this.
Bree. She's behind the camera. It's just like crawling under the wagon.
Yeah, we signed
hide.
a release for HR violations.
Time out what? You have something to say?
Yeah, you're full of shit, dude.
That's not true.
The thing is funny whenever you like this. Let's just say it's flip flopped in the past, like let's just say 4 weeks, right, out of the last 8 years. It's just like really funny to me because like you drug me to therapy because I was humping you too much in the kitchen.
That didn't drag you to therapy over that.
You for sure did.
You're like, just whenever he sees me, he's just like all over me, and I just like can't stand it.
All right, sorry, ladies.
Like,
let me just ask a question. Does it turn you on? Does it make you want to take your clothes off and put your PUSSY in your husband's face when he comes up behind you, grabs your hips, just starts out of nowhere when you're trying to clean the kitchen?
Actually, pretty good form.
Does that turn you on? Yes or no? Let me know in the comment section. I'm gonna go ahead and take a wild stab. I'm gonna take a wild
stab. Smash that like
stab.
button. You're good at this.
Drop a like below.
Yeah. You can tell we have kids.
Yeah, I have a kid. I have 2 kids who loves YouTube. You can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me if that really gets your motor running,
All right,
guys.
listen.
Okay, because that was the foreplay I was getting. I wonder why in therapy I brought up I don't like being humped like a freaking animal.
So the question
when
was
I'm wiping the counters
about
down.
Sex drive. It wasn't about how good are you at getting your
You-
partner in the mood?
you brought that up, not me.
These are two separate things. Okay. Yeah. Well, everything, it ebbs and flows.
It
okay?
does ebb and flow.
Like, to be fair, it's been ebbing and flowing more in your direction, but it was I had the market cornered for several years in this category.
Yeah, the market cornered when I
Several
was
years.
pregnant or recently postpartum. I wonder why he had the market cornered.
It's not my fault. I think pregnant chicks are hot. Like
He does.
It's not like not like all pregnant chicks, but like
Yeah, what?
No, just like
I'm not the jealous type of school.
Yeah, no, I mean like. It's the more pregnant you get, the hotter you are. Like the less you want to have sex with me, and the more I want to have sex with you.
So there's
and
this
that
like
is
this
dangerous combo.
Yeah, there's this like physical response I have that like literally as soon as I get pregnant enough in the first trimester to start feeling sick, I become absolutely 100% disgusted by
dick.
my husband. I'm allergic to dick. Not only allergic to dick, I'm allergic to all of his smells, the look of his face, the way he chews,
my aura,
the way he breathes,
the way my footsteps sound on the floor at night.
the way he lives in the same house as me. And I'm just like, I want nothing to do with you until the baby is out and I'm done breastfeeding for at least 6 weeks. And then we can talk again.
Yeah, so you just flippantly say that, but that if you're going to calculate it, that's like a year and a half worth of time.
No, it is. It's
Like,
probably closer
a
to 2
long-ass
years,
time.
honestly. But, then when I get back to feeling like myself and looking like myself, which helps me feel like myself, then it's a different story.
Well, then we had another baby, and then we just and then that cycle happened. So it's
Yeah.
like we're talking about like a 4 or 5 year period here. I
Yeah,
think,
no,
to
that's
be-
true. And also, like, working with your husband doesn't really make you more attracted to him, especially when, like,
for sure.
he's sort of your boss. Okay, that's something we need to get
that's a
clear.
separate-
No, we
that's a
need to get
separate
we need to
one.
get something
Let's stay
clear
on-
right
Let's
now.
stay on topic.
We own 4 brands, 4 companies. We have 4 apps in health and fitness, nutrition. I started those businesses. I used to run those businesses pretty much alone, and I obviously was the face and founder. But I no longer am the CEO. So, like, I just want to publicly put it out there that he runs the businesses. I am the president of brands, and I'm in charge of branding, and I'm in charge of content and creative, and I'm the face of the brands. Obviously, I'm really big in with the coaching and product development, but from business strategy, marketing strategy, finances, payments, like prices, technology, that is Max. He runs all of it. He has a say at the end of the day. He makes the decisions, and I follow his lead. I get my input, of course, but that doesn't mean that my input is what the final decision is. Can you confirm? He's in charge. He really is in charge. Just admit it. I'm
Yeah, I
sick
mean,
of you
like, I
saying
don't-
I'm the
I
boss.
don't
I'm
look at
not the
things in
boss
terms of, like,
anymore.
who's in
You
charge.
know that I'm not the boss. Just be comfortable with saying that you're the head dick in charge.
I mean, I think you need to be comfortable with that. That's not the.
The thing is,
I'm-
I'm really
I'm
comfortable
comfortable
with
with-
him being the head dick in charge in the bedroom. Like, that's where I love for you to take real charge. But at work,
and
sometimes
have-
it's annoying as fuck. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
But I still do it. I mean, I still do it. I've been so better with that.
You have. It's been a very challenging. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're
It's
my
extremely
babies.
challenging.
They're my the company.
I mean, like I was around for the exception of 3 out of 4 of them.
I
Like,
mean,
it's like I was like,
no.
yeah, right.
2.
3 out of 4.
Birth Recovery Center, no. Birth Recovery Center was my idea
Yeah.
from the very beginning.
Well-
That's always what I wanted to do, and it started with
Yeah.
the ab rehab. Please don't, like,
Yeah.
okay. Like, you want to get in technicalities. Tread Thrill was Max's idea. I have to say that.
You could have that one. That's
I will.
that could be
I
your
will
idea.
take that one. Thank
Yeah.
you. Tread Thrill was Max's idea, and Nancy Anderson, what was the? I mean, Move Your Bump wasn't your idea.
Yeah, well, I mean, I built all of them. I mean, it's interesting because you're like, oh yeah, these are like these things. Like I've been involved 4 years this August. Like that is a lifetime. Like in terms of what we've accomplished in that time.
No, I
So
agree.
you make it seem like, oh, like I did these 4 things, and then Max is like, no, like
No.
like I was involved with almost every step. Like we have pictures of us budgeting out the first year when I was working at Marcus and Millichap. There were like,
Okay, let's talk
we've
about
been
that really
working on
quick.
it
Now we're
together.
going on a huge tangent. Let's talk about that really quick.
Wait,
It's just
is that
so so
okay.
convenient to me, guys, that when I started this online thing, I'm just going to be totally transparent and honest here. He was pretty dismissive over it all. Sure, babe. Like, he's always been supportive. Like, hey, whatever you want to do, like, go do it. You got this. But I would come to him and be like, hey, like, I made like this much online this month. You know, like, this is when I was just a party of one. I was running everything alone. And he'd be like, wow, he'd be like, wow, that's really great. Da, 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 da. He didn't see the potential, in my opinion, where he's like, let's sit down and meet about this and map this stuff out. Because you have to understand, I am a very creative person. Like, I'm not super duper like organized how you probably would think, although I try to be, but it's very difficult. I'm creative. I'm a trainer. I'm a performer. I'm a nutritionist. Like, I don't thrive in like business strat and like financial strategy and like budgeting.
Or just,
That's
like,
just
anything
not
process
my
related.
wheelhouse. So
Like-
for the first year or so, when I was really running things 100% party of one, only myself, I didn't even like pull reports like or anything. I didn't look at anything other than like, what was the total sales I had for that month? All right, cool. Like, I mean, in my defense, I was taking home pretty much 100% of that because I didn't have any expenses at the time for the most part. But it wasn't until I made $100,000. I made $100,000 that first year in online sales. Plus, I had a full-time job in real life. I was still training in real life. That is when he started taking it seriously. When he realized it was $100,000 in 1 year, then I got his attention, and that was when we met at Marcus and Millichap and had that meeting.
Yeah. So
You didn't take
that's
it
not
seriously
correct.
until then.
Yeah, I think that's really incorrect. So the notion that like you, as much as we know about each other, that you like secretly went off and made $100,000 and that I didn't even know about
I didn't
it.
say that.
Like, I was tracking the entire time. You just never asked for my involvement. The only thing that I said, like, I was like, oh, this is like a really frivolous like thing to do, was all the stuff you did with Instagram. Because I didn't use Instagram, and you were like, you'd
But
be
how do you
on
think I
hours
made
posting.
that $100,000? That was through
Well, it's-
social media. I wasn't even running ads at the time. It was through local word of mouth where I lived in Newport Beach, and organic outreach on Instagram, 100%. Facebook
People
too.
a lot of it was Facebook, right? Because it was like people you knew.
It was
and
a lot of
friends and
Facebook,
family,
but
just
also
like how
Instagram,
anybody
but
starts
yeah.
their business, right? It was
Yeah.
a referral base, right? So it were like there was no, and then to be fair, like you didn't know either. Like you were just like doing this thing, and you were taking Instagram class, and you're like, hey, like your whole thing was, I think social media is a great way to develop business, and I was like, cool, like go for it. Like I was like, oh, that's like, I have no idea what that is or what you're even talking about. Like I'm not a user. That was what kicked everything off was that, and this was like 8 years ago. This is like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Or 7 years ago.
But you
whatever
call
it
it
is.
just like, what did you say it was? Just like,
It's like what I remember being not negative about, or like this seems like exercising futility, is you would just be like liking. You would literally be just going through your phone and just liking every
you always
image
bring
on
up
your
that
feed.
one thing, but there was like so many other things I was also doing.
I know, but that when I was looking, when you were with me and we were together, because we didn't have any kids at the time, you would always be liking people's stuff on Instagram, and I'd be
Yeah.
like, "This is so dumb. Like, this is like, what are you doing?" Like, because it was when we were together, and that would always be what you were doing. We were together, not always, but like what I would see you doing. Like, if you're working your day and I'm working my day, I don't know what you're doing. You don't know what I'm doing, and I was like, "This is so dumb. Like, what are you doing?" Like, but you were right. Like, the thing is, and I've always,
dumb.
but I've like always been on the record saying that it's like your timing and insight was impeccable, like absolutely impeccable. It was what kicked off everything we have done and then will eventually accomplish.
Yeah.
Well, it
It was
kicked
a lot
it
of
off,
intuition, which
Yeah.
Max is not big on intuition. Like
right?
I
It's
am.
luck.
I
mean,
follow.
I call
luck.
it right. You could say hindsight is
Luck.
like people only call it intuition when they're correct, right?
That's not true.
Yeah, but if it wouldn't have worked, like most ideas don't work, you'd be like, oh, it was my intuition. They're just like, it's luck, right? You call it intuition. That's
See,
fine.
I look at
or
I
an
mean,
opinion. An opinion.
Something that you fail from, you're going to learn from. So that intuition could still be correct because maybe you need to learn that lesson that you learned from that failure. So I don't know. I'm not aligning with that. But let's move on.
But hold on. But let's move on, right? But like that's like the everything happens for a reason. Like that's the most convenient way to view the world. Which is like, I'm not saying that's incorrect or a terrible attitude to have, but like you're never wrong, right? Like you're taking a stance where you could never be wrong. If everything happens for a reason, therefore nothing can happen not for a reason. When we know that much of our world is random.
Okay, let's not get into the weeds here. And we don't see eye to eye about this shit anyway. Let's talk about like. Okay, let's move on. All right, let's talk about this. What's your favorite memory of me? That's our favorite memory of each other. My favorite memory of Max is when I first met him. I was his trainer at Under Armour World Headquarters in Baltimore, Maryland. And he would come in the morning to work out in my class. And he would roll in with a beanie on his head, just like so sex pot. And he'd have like this tank top on that had these like, it was like cut out so you could like see his like muscles and his body. He had these basketball shorts on, like kind of like a little like, what's the word that's PC these days? Like, not like hood, but like a little bit like a yo boy. What would that be? Is that allowed to say?
Like
Am I allowed
gangster?
to say that? Yeah, a little gangster. It was like this gangster swag. And he'd come in and he'd have this like walk with his beanie on. And I'd just be like drooling. Like, oh my God, I just want to fuck him.
Whoa.
Sit on his
Jesus.
That's my favorite memory because I would just be like mesmerized by watching him walk into the gym. And like the way he smelled, like when he sweat, I know it's like disgusting, but it was like intoxicating for me. Like I just wanted to like lick it up. That's probably my favorite memory of you because that's when I like realized like there's something like that I can't describe that is like a magnet like pulling me to him. I've never experienced that before.
Yeah.
So I eat you.
How the
But
times
not
change.
like on Wild Wednesday where people are like eating humans for real. Not like that.
Not in a cannibal way.
Like,
Yeah, that's funny because that's like I have my memory's not like as pleasant, but it's the same.
oh, here we go.
But it's
of
the
course
same like moment where you knew is I haven't really talked about this before, but whenever I took you home for the first time to Morgantown and we got in this like huge argument or fight and I was like sleeping on an air mattress.
Because his friends are being a dick.
Yeah.
You're being a dick around your friends.
Okay.
That's why we got in a fight.
Okay, it's like it's my time to tell the story, but okay. Thank you for your input, as always. But so like we were in an argument, and I was sleeping on like the air mattress because the house was like packed, and it was like a lot for everyone that weekend. And you came and like whispered in my ear in like your kind of seemingly petty way because I was like sleeping, and you were like, hey, I'm not coming to California with you, and you were like basically you like broke up with me while I was sleeping, right? And I was like, oh, in my mind,
sleeping, you were pretending to sleep.
I wasn't sleeping. Yeah, I was pretending to sleep. You're right. And in my
Pretending
mind,
to ignore me like
I
he
was
always
like,
does when I'm pissed.
Still never works. And you said, I'm not coming to California with you, and I was like, there's my out. Like, good. Like, here it is. Like, I've been looking for this red flag or some reason to like leave or whatever it is. Like, there's my chance, right? Because we had been living together. Like, we were pretty serious. And in that moment, like in the split second, same second, I was like, fuck no. Like, there's zero chance that this woman spends the rest of her life with anybody but me.
I wish you would have told me that.
I've told you that. So
in the moment.
I wish you would have listened.
In the moment, you should have rolled over it, grabbed my face
yeah,
in a
that's
romantic
right.
way
Jesus
instead.
Christ, I tell you what, dude, your brain is wild. Like, yeah, but no, that's probably one of my favorite memories. Was like that. I was like, there's no chance. Like the history is already kind of written itself. Like we're gonna be together, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, till death do us part, bitches.
Probably me first, but yeah.
That's because I spend $1 million a year on my health. No, I'm just kidding. But one day I will when I get there. All right, next question. Let's see. All right, well, people want to hear finance advice, but I'm not ready to take a nap yet, so we're gonna wait.
What is this?
Okay. Explain NFTs. Not today, guys. Okay.
Dude, is that someone said that?
Please
Should block that person.
explain NFTs, please, Max.
Oh my gosh.
People want to know where you came from and like what your side of the family is like. I think they're asking because like I shared like some family
they know your
issues,
side.
like going no contact with my mom and all that stuff. Which is another question. Do you want to share anything about your family or you want to keep it private?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not really good at like just like openly sharing. Like if it's like a
Yeah, he's
question
not
or
good at
like,
that.
but I mean, I like answering questions and engaging. But someone's like, "Hey, tell me about yourself." I'm like, "Well, fucking, I don't know. What am I supposed to say? I don't know. I'm from what should I say? I'm from West Virginia. Like,
Yeah. He's from West Virginia. He has he's one of two kids. He has a little sister who's about 2.5 years younger than him. They always have gotten along really, really well, but they're not like super duper close, like gender and different interests. And she still lives back at home where he's from, which is in Cheat Lake, West Virginia. His parents are still together. They're amazing in-laws. They're really involved with our kids. They come out and visit often. His sister's actually right here, right now, visiting with her husband and their 3 kids. And yeah, I mean, there's not really like, they all get along. There's no like real issues, I guess, that we could like share. I think they're referring to my mom. Like they're referring to like my mom.
I'm confused. It's not it's very open-ended.
And
yeah, I mean,
his dad was also. Talk about your dad.
About
your dad's like career, like maybe the entrepreneur stuff, and
Well,
school.
I just always sports. I played
football.
sports. Football. Yeah, jeez, that's great. Thanks for that.
I always like to talk about Max's football career.
Yeah,
he gets embarrassed.
That was probably the biggest thing I would tell about myself. It's like very misunderstood. Like always been a really top tier or a good athlete, and I really didn't give a shit about. I cared more about intellectual stuff like school and learning, and there's always more to me than what society perceives. It's kind of the same as you. Yeah, I'm just very cerebral.
Yeah, he is. He's a green aura for any of you guys that
follow
that kind of
And
stuff.
our oldest is the same way. You can see it in him. He's just he's high EQ, high IQ, good athlete. Like, and there's many layers to him. He's like an ogre.
Yeah,
many layers. But yeah, no, enjoy sports. Played football in college. Got an undergrad in accounting. Went and worked at Under Armour where we met. I worked at Nike out in Beaverton, worked at Under Armour in Baltimore, took a job where we moved to California, working for a company called 511 Tactical, went back to school, got my MBA at UCLA, switched careers into commercial real estate, became a licensed broker, started my own firm, and then 4 years ago started working with you.
Yeah.
And quickly went from, I remember when you were kind of asking me you've always asked for help, right? And then I was always there to help whenever you needed it. And we built a lot of the business around me being a support role for you. And then that's no longer my best.
He used to help me answer DMs when, like,
oh yeah.
Remember I'd go to bed, I'd give him, because I don't let anyone have access to my Instagram account because it's just so valuable and it's easy to get hacked. And it's not even like I don't trust someone. It's just like, it's easy to leave your phone out and then all of a sudden someone has access, So,
Totally.
But I used to when I didn't have customer service and there was so many product questions that I couldn't get to them all, I would go to bed at night because he's a night owl and I would give him my phone and then he would go in DMs and talk with people about the programs and help me answer everything. So he started out as like my assistant. Now he's running the entire business. He's the head bitch in charge. That just shows you the upper mobility potential you have here at Nancy Anderson Fit Brands.
Yeah. Totally.
What else did you want to share? Anything?
Well, no, just and that journey's been you were kind of begging me for a while to work, and I was like, no,
begging. I went from begging. I went from asking to begging to threatening. You got to quit your fucking job. I am drowning. I am not gonna make it. I can't even see straight. I have no idea what I'm doing.
You make no money.
Okay, never ever called him that. I never would ever do that. Don't put that out there.
When's your next page? When's this deal closing?
Okay.
Why aren't you able to predict the future?
All right. Well, okay. He was on a 100% commission
it's
job.
a tough place. It's a tough place.
Where you don't make any commission for the first couple years because it takes that long to build up your book. Commercial real estate is a grind, you guys. And those of you that are in it, you know that you're putting in 2 to 5 years of little to no money before you start making money. And when you do start making money, it's good money. But until then, it's a lot of sacrifice. And I was pregnant, I had a little kid, I had a career, and I was supporting everything 100%. It was very difficult. And then he started bartending on the side.
Yeah,
and then,
okay, thank you.
if you want to be honest, I'm going to be fucking honest. Don't try to... Okay, let's move on. Let's do another question. How many employees do you have? We technically only have 2, Max and I, but we have about 60 contractors. And
we don't. Just to be fair, it's not that number. It's closer to probably 30 or 40.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
We always say 50, but we're not at 50.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's proves I don't do that side of the business. How many more babies? Are any more babies? Are you religious? Love you guys.
Okay. That's
one more baby.
Interesting.
Yes, I'm religious. He's not.
Well, I mean, I think you might want to. Well, maybe you have explained that. That's. I don't think when people think of religious, they wouldn't describe like what your belief set falls into.
It's religion. It's my own religion. Things you can do if you feel like you're falling out of love with your husband. This is a good one. Listen, when you first get married, you think this is never going to happen, and then you get like 10 years in, and it does start to happen because you don't continue to nourish your relationship when you have little kids and a career and bills to pay and family and friends, and there's just a lot going on. So I think my advice, and something that we're also working on now, is to nourish the relationship more by making more time at the end of the day or sometime in the day to connect, whether it's like a little afternoon quickie, like last week, give me some, or if it's like... Or if it's like like last night when the kids went to bed, like Max's love language is being touched.
Oh, 100%.
Lucky me.
100%.
Just kidding.
Yeah. Oh.
I want to be not touched. Lock me in a closet and leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
But like last night, we were putting the kids to bed, and I gave Max like a massage, a nice back massage with oil to help him like feel loved, because that's his love language. And then I have other things that are my love. It's like, and about like thinking of, how does this person want to be loved? And then like going out of your way. You need to do little things. It doesn't have to be like really time consuming or extravagant to just show that like I'm a gift giver. Like my like contractors and stuff, like when they're doing a good job or they have like, I'll go out and like, people come and visit us. Like I'll like do gifts and stuff. Like I like to like show people love in that way. That's not everyone's love language. That's just like what I do. Max's is definitely being touched. So I try to do that. And then the other thing that I would recommend is advice that we've gotten from a therapist is like to continue dating each other after you've been married for a really long time. So, well, I mean, always, I guess, throughout marriage. So just making time for date night, getting the sitter, like letting the sitter watch your kids and going out for like one-on-one time. Like Max is also very intellectual. So, he connects more with me through a really deep conversation than like fucking me, for example. Like I
Also much longer.
could have a couple orgasms and feel really close to him. But I'm just my mind is not the same as his, and that's okay. So I'll try to like do that. It's just a little exhausting for me because sometimes I'm just like, I don't like want to talk about this deep stuff. It's just like heavy and it's confusing and it's just like, all right. But I really try to like do it because I know that it really helps him connect with me. So I think it's also that is like, how does your husband connect with you? And like, what does he need? And then he also needs to do that for you or whoever your partner is, and I work on that a little bit more. Like
What?
loving me how I want to be loved.
Which is what? Just never talking to you?
That could be part of it.
Yeah, no, I think, but what's missing though is what's unspoken, because like in like I mean, this is where I really enjoy a lot of like Warren Farrell's readings and writings, is that men is a little bit of the disposable sex a little bit when it comes to like society. Yeah. And it's interesting in the marriage, right? It's like you have always been my number one. Yeah. Right. And then when we have kids and then you have a business and then we have a nanny, it's like I'm fucking 4. I'm 4 on a good day. Right. And like I'm just like, what the fuck, dude? Like it's like, and like that doesn't happen. Like, so it's like I'm like bottom of the totem pole. Yeah. And part of me is like, I'm okay with that, right? I'm not going to
No, you're not. He's always says that, but he's not okay. It really hurts him, and it probably hurts your partner too.
Well, I mean, I think it's my thing is like you got to acknowledge it, right? Like you have to be like, hey, like
no,
I understand you're on the bottom.
No, it's not just acknowledging that he's on the bottom, you guys. It's making efforts to show him that he's really important too. And it's not a totem pole where everyone's ranked in order of like worth or like importance. It's more like a circle it's like a family circle. And like I spend time at different areas of the circle depending on needs. And it just so happens that my sons get a lot of time in that circle, and our nanny, who has been with us for 7 years, is actually a huge part of our family. And, she gets a lot of that time too, because I want her to feel important, and I want her to feel like she can have adult conversations because she's with kids all day. There's a lot that I'm trying to like make sure everyone's needs are met. And he if I'm gonna take it away from someone, I do take it away from Max, because in my mind I'm like, he can handle it. Like my kids can't handle it.
Yeah,
You
I can
know?
handle it. I think it's a dangerous.
But it's not healthy. It is
Yeah,
dangerous.
it's a dangerous spot to be in.
Yeah.
I think that because my thing is
Okay,
like
Bree?
hey, it's not gonna be like this forever. That's like what I think. It's
That's
like,
the
hey,
other
this
thing.
is a.
I think it's important to think, and I've started to think a lot of that, like that too, because now our oldest is like 7.5, and I'm really seeing him. Like he's a mama's boy, but I'm seeing him kind of grow out of being as much of a mama's boy as he was, and now he is a lot more interested in Max. My kids, when they were little, weren't super interested in Max. It was really interested in me or really attached to our nanny. Like Kenzie was super attached, and they hit an age where they want to be with dad more, and like then it's like started to like really resonate with me. Like, oh, this is just a season. This is just one season of being his parent for like his entire life. And like when that season changes, like things are going to change. And that's like a big part, not a big part. That's part of, why I feel like I have been trying a lot more to not like rekindle our relationship, but like nourish it more because I like it's all like clicking. It's like, oh, he doesn't need me as much anymore. So now I can like put that energy somewhere else and like I can funnel it back into Max, or like my youngest needs a lot of one-on-one that I don't think he like gets enough of because he's a younger sibling and I'm a younger sibling, so I like resonate with that. So I've been trying to like give him more one-on-one attention because it's just so interesting how your oldest gets so much one-on-one, even if it's just for a couple of years. I feel like it changes them forever, getting that one-on-one time with the parents before there's any other siblings. And I want to try to nourish Leo a little bit more with having some of that time too. So yeah, it's just like proven to me that there's seasons, and overall, like you have to put work in. A marriage is not going to work just because you think you're soulmates and you said I do and it's going to be meant to be because it's meant to be. Like you have to put in work, and if you don't, I think that any marriage, no matter how good of a fit it is, has the potential to fail.
Oh yeah, because by not adapting, you have to be able to adapt.
Yeah, or just ignoring. I mean, if you're not meeting your partner's needs, I mean, you have to understand, like, your husband or wife or partner or whatever came from a totally different background than you. Like, everyone's childhood was very different. Everyone's behavior patterns, core beliefs, thought patterns were developed really in childhood when you weren't around them, and you don't really know what they went through. Even if they tell you what they went through, you don't really understand how they feel about themselves. And going through a lot of therapy and like learning a lot about psychology and stuff, which is something that I'm really interested in personally, you really start to learn that like everyone has their own perception of reality. And when I say something to Max and he gets like triggered by it, like, in the past I would then be triggered because he was triggered by it. I'm like, why the fuck is he like all upset or pissed off or having an attitude because I said X? When really that was triggering something in him that is much deeper than what's on the surface, and the more I like time I spend with Max, or I learn about psychology, or I learn about myself, or I learn how to improve my own communication, it helps me to like come from more of like a loving standpoint when we're having disagreements or arguments, or he like goes down the tubes, as I say, or gets like angry or whatever, or feeling triggered. Because I know that's like an insecurity or there's something going on beneath the surface. And some of it, I know now some of it. I know him well enough now to be like, I know why he's doing this because he feels like he's not good enough. And that's coming from here and there or whatever. But I think that's like an interesting thing to kind of think about with your significant other too, is just take a step back, a little different perspective of, what was their childhood like? What was their dynamic like? What are their thought patterns like? Like, what's their self-worth like, self-love like? And I mean, I just want to help you be better, and I think you do the same for me.
Yeah.
So I think if you come from that place, and it's just about doing the work. I mean, really.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes us unique, and maybe you more unique than most kind of men or males, but is that you always take care of yourself first.
Yeah,
like,
can't pour from an empty cup.
Like you're always taking care of you first. Whereas I think a lot of women put themselves last. And that's what really makes you a very inspiring and authentic figure, is that you are unapologetically about you. And I think that's it comes from not a selfish place. It comes from a selfless place, which sounds really counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But
that's what self-care always sounds counterintuitive. And that's like this huge stigma in society, especially around moms. It's like, oh, you're taking time to work out, to get your nails done, to see a nutritionist, whatever you're doing. well, that's like selfish because you're a mom now and your kids need to be your top priority and like they are your world and like you need to like dedicate everything to them. And it's like, whoa. Hold the fuck up. Like, that's not how this works. Like, first of all, it takes a village. And second of all, how can I be my best self as a mom when I'm not my best self with my health, my mental health, my physical, like you have to be in a good place and be healthy and happy yourself to then raise healthy and happy kids. So it all starts inside of you, inside of your body, your mind. And I mean, I think that I've always realized that. I worked with a lot of moms before I was ever a mom for years and years and years. And I saw that in them. I could see the shift in them. And I was like, I'm never going to do that. And then people would tell me, you say you're never going to do that, but you will. You will stop caring about your health and this and your body and your eating, whenever when you have kids, because it just isn't as important. When I became a mom, my health became more important to me than ever before because I need to be my best to be the best mom for them. And from my childhood, being the best mom I can be is very important to me. It ranks highest on my list in so many ways. So yeah, I do. I put my self-care first. That's why I'm super honest too, like about like getting a nose job or doing whatever is like, do things for you that make you happy. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm not a bad mom. If anything, I'd argue I'm a better mom than people that aren't prioritizing their self to be healthy versions of themselves. They're not setting good examples for their kids. And I just choose to do it differently.
Yeah.
And if you judge me for it, I don't give a fuck.
Well, and I think that just kind of continuing on that, it's that the level of self-improvement, that we aspire to is your partner is always, you're going to be a different person. Like, I've been so many different people since like
that's a good point.
We've met, is that you have to be comfortable with that level of change.
Yeah.
Right? And if your partner, if your significant other is not improving, I mean, to me, that's a recipe for disaster. Because I think it kind of starts and stops at the individual.
Yeah.
At all levels. Like, you can't look out in the world and be like, oh, things should be this way for me, and not fucking do anything about it.
Yeah.
And that person in that path, that's very different. So I'm not who I was a year ago or 5 years ago.
True.
And you have to kind of coexist with that people. And I understand how some people are like, I don't like this new person you are, or I want, to trade out and get a divorce or whatever. I understand that.
Oh, I understand.
Right.
That, 100%.
But, that kind of makes sense to me. It's some lens. But I think you have to be adaptable at the end of the day.
I agree. People want to know the craziest place we've had sex or like sexual relations.
Oh, this is a great story.
The bar?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is top 5 story right here.
Do you want to tell it? He's going to exaggerate.
I will not exaggerate. I remember it was like yesterday.
What
this
happened?
This is the first
and
only time I've got a blowjob in the bathroom.
I sucked your peen?
Yeah. Yeah. At the top of a row home bar. Our friend. What are the people you
Start at the beginning. Hold on.
What? No.
Okay, we went out for a party.
Yeah.
There was like some party.
It was somebody's birthday party.
It was renting
bar.
out the top of a bar in Baltimore, Maryland, like Fells Point or some shit.
Yeah,
right?
it was what's the name's bar? Bartenders.
Oh God, don't say that. Dave, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you trained the owners.
Yeah.
You were like so yeah.
Dave and Carrie, I apologize in advance for what we did in your bar.
Yeah.
But upstairs in your like party room, there was a bar up there, and then there was this like big party going on, and I was wearing like high heels, like probably 4 inches, and like a little like mini dress or whatever. And
Man,
there was
wasted.
like a bathroom in the back. There was like a bar over here, bathroom back there, and then like this open floor right here, and along the wall there was like a table with like food and stuff for the party, and there was like cupcakes that were out for the party.
Oh yeah, you're getting into this.
Yep.
Yeah, this is the funny part of the story isn't sexual. That's right.
Yeah.
I think it's
so Max goes into the bathroom, and I was kind of drunk, so like I don't
wasted.
remember like everything, but I followed him into the bathroom and like snuck in because it was like one of those bathrooms where it was like just like sort of a regular bathroom. It was like a single. It wasn't like you went in and there were stalls. It was like you opened the door and there was like a sink and a toilet, and then you closed the door and locked it, whatever.
Yeah.
So he went in. I followed him in there, took that big old D out.
Yeah. This is like really funny though, because like when you're wasted, like we have a lot of funny stories in the same vein, that you'll do things that you think are sexy. Like you won't actually perform the task. So like it wasn't a blowjob. It was like maybe like a couple minutes, and I was like, "This is not going to work." And then we're
So
like,
you didn't finish?
No, not even close. It was like I was like, you just thought it was hot. You're like, "Oh, he's gonna love this."
Yeah,
like,
blue balls.
Yeah,
It's so hot.
Yeah, you're like, he's gonna love this. You're like, this is like dirty. So you gave me like a 2-minute blowjob,
inner
and then we
slut
left.
coming out.
So, yeah, so then we left, and as we were leaving, this is what you were
Talk
trying
about how
to get.
good the blowjob was first.
Oh yeah, it was. I don't think it was. It was like you forced yourself upon me.
Yeah. I
but
took a deep.
Yeah.
Really
sure.
deep
Yeah.
choking.
Yeah. Okay, that's graphic. But yeah. So then
Then I get up.
Then we get up.
Straighten my skirt down.
Yeah. Then we leave, and you're
I'll
walking
finish later.
Yeah. So like we're like, and then it's the whole like movie thing where like we're coming out of the bathroom together, and people are waiting to get in the bathroom. Like, what the fuck were these guys doing here together? And then so they're walking back, and you're like strutting. You're like you think it's like this is really funny because I wasn't drunk and you were wasted, and you were like, this is so like I'm so cool, and then you walk past and you like look back at me and give me this like seductive look, and you look down and see this table of cupcakes, and you swipe the top of a cupcake and then go, and then as you look back, you fell so hard on the ground. It was like your head hit the floor before anything else did. And I was like, the whole party was like, oh shit. Like, it was hilarious. And I was like, oh my God, I'd like scoop you up and take you home. Because you're like, I was like, thought you just tore both your ACLs. And that was really funny. But the other funny story too is in this same vein is whenever we were at Fells Point and you were wasted and I hadn't been drinking and you like
I don't know this
thinking
one.
you were flirtatious. Yes, you did. This is a famous story.
Don't tell this
and
story.
you like rub your knee. You know, like when you're
Let me
dancing with
show
somebody
everyone. Let me show
and you
everyone.
rub your knee.
Let me show everyone.
Honestly. So you're like dancing
I'm
like
like-
this. Yeah. And I'm
I'm
against
like-
the wall. And yeah, you know how you give it like a flip, right? You give it like a little flip like that. And you're like, yeah, let me see if he's excited. You proceeded to knee me in the nuts. Like probably 20 times. Because I was like, oh, that's
The
hot.
other day I
and
asked
then
him
in
this,
your
he said
brain
7
was,
times.
I was like, oh, that's sexy. And then in your brain
exaggerate.
was like, oh, he wants me to keep going. And like, I was
I
bruised.
got someone off once just doing that.
That's not. This is a family podcast. Oh.
Definitely not a family podcast.
But it's
Don't
really
listen to
funny
the
because
kids.
you were like in your drunk brain was like, oh yeah, this is a really good idea.
Well, I mean, you could have said, ouch, that hurts.
No, I think I did. I think
No,
I
you
did. I was
didn't.
like, I'm good. Like you don't have to do that anymore. Like,
No, you didn't.
yeah, right. I didn't. We just
No
started
fucking
dating though. I
chance
didn't-
you did
yeah,
that. You took it.
you know me. I'm not assertive in some situations.
Well, no, you're super assertive when you really get to know him. But like anyone on the outside, he seems like such an easygoing guy. My favorite is like when someone that like knows us, I like mention something about how like kind of like annoying he is, which is going to lead me into my next question. Yeah. And they're like, "Oh, Max, but he's like so chill and easygoing." I'm like, "Bitch, then you don't know him well because he's not." Okay.
See, I think that's different. I think there's a difference between being assertive
And
and having an opinion.
opinion.
Thank you. Yeah. You have an opinion on a matter and you can be like assertive. Like, no. There's a
It's the way
difference.
he says it. And if his mom was out here, she would agree. Sister would agree. Ex-girlfriends would agree. Write me in the comment section. I know he's got 57 of them.
Smash that like button. Or is it the subscribe button? I forget.
For that slept with my husband, smash the like button. That's going to get us at least 200 likes.
Okay, you didn't have
That's
to say
gonna get us
that.
at least 200 likes. Let's go.
That's not true.
Division I football players are at least in the triple digits, okay?
That's not true.
But my number's not low either, so who knows? Okay.
Yeah, what's your excuse?
I was a whore.
Okay. Jesus.
Okay, wait. Someone said, what's one thing that annoys you about each other? You can go first. Did I ask that already? No. What annoys you about me?
Oh, yeah, like not being able to hear opinions without accepting them as fact.
Okay. Cool story, bro.
Wait, you're not going to go?
I don't know where to start. So,
Oh, wow. Wow, okay.
what annoys me about you? I think the list is shorter if we talk about what doesn't annoy me.
Okay, Jesus Christ.
kidding.
Let's just start with one.
I'm just kidding. I love you so much. But he's a slob, okay? If he opens a drawer, the drawer ain't getting shut. Unless homegirl shuts it, or my nanny shuts it, or my assistant. Anyone else walking by, my toddler will do it. He won't, though. Opens a cabinet, cabinet's staying open. if he gets a cup out, that cup is going to stay wherever the last sip of it's taken. It's going to stay right there until someone else gets it. And then if
gonna
you
fill the
call
cup
him
up.
out on it, he will go down the tubes. Like, take no
I wasn't done
responsibility,
using
blame it
it.
on someone else. I wasn't done using it. I wanted to put it there so I could find it easily later.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
moved my shit.
it is okay. The house being messy gives me serious anxiety, which just says something about myself. There's some internal shit I probably need to deal with. But I'm telling you what, if I walk into the house and it's a mess and there's junk everywhere, or the car, oh my God, don't get me started on the cars. Dude, I just automatically, I'm like not in the best mood I could be in, you know? And if the house gets clean, then I immediately become in a better mood, you know?
Yeah.
I want to be loved in a way where
Yeah.
my husband cleans up after himself.
Yeah.
I haven't experienced that yet.
Oh, allow me to tell you what I think is annoying. I think is annoying is the people that complain about the house messy are responsible for 99.9% of shit that gets inside the house. That's what my pet peeve is.
Okay.
It's like, oh, the toys are never cleaned up. Oh, who bought all the fucking toys?
Max,
Not
that's
me.
not usually what I'm bitching about. Usually what I'm
That's
bitching
only
about
my
is
stuff.
tripping over your size 13 fucking flip-flops that you leave in the middle of the damn hallway.
So I know
and
where
in
they
the middle
are.
of the night, I literally trip and almost break my new nose on your fucking shoes.
New nose.
My children, I mean,
Jesus.
it's like the list goes on and on, guys. Like he is,
Okay.
there's no other way to cut it. He's a slob.
Oh.
You should have seen. Writing was on the wall with his first apartment when I started dating him,
Oh,
and I
jeez.
cleaned that whole fucking place for you when you moved out.
Yeah,
I
you
scrubbed
did,
the
you did bitch
toilet.
about
Oh
it
my
one
God!
time. Yeah, you just cleaned it.
Yeah, because I was getting that good dick every day.
Jesus.
If you give me that good dick every day, maybe I wouldn't fucking bitch about it so much.
Yeah, right. That shit stopped working a long time ago.
Let's see. Okay, this is a good one. How Max helps support you with the mental health stuff and your mom, biggest struggles.
Oh, yeah.
So Max is really easygoing in some ways, and that is one way where he's easygoing. He's super supportive no matter what I decide. If I'm like, hey, I want to go see my family every other month, he's going to be like, okay, cool. If I say, hey, I want to cut ties and never see my family again, he's like, okay, cool. Like, he'll pretty much back me up on whatever I decide in areas like that. He's super supportive in that way. And I really appreciate that. He will be honest though, and he's like the king of giving you the other perspective, no matter what the issue is. And he usually will always be able to see both sides, and this is no different. So, you know, from his perspective, he'll be like, you know, I see this and I see that. And I will say over the years though, I used to say stuff about my mom, for example, about like how she was and her treatment, and like before I realized it was like narcissism, that I didn't really know how to describe it, so I would just like kind of vent to him about things. And then, I mean, you did over the years be like, yeah, I do see like what you're saying. Like it clearly bothers you and it gets to you way more than it does me. But like he's been able to at least see it, which is helpful, I think, in like understanding the whole process. But I mean, overall, there's really no biggest struggle because Max is like super supportive about it. But do you have any like?
Well, but that's our relationship in a nutshell. It's like we were talking about people that have this morning about people that have like different accounts for like bank accounts. But it's like this is the same thing. You have my absolute trust. Like I never, ever think that you are going to intentionally do something harmful, make the wrong decision, whatever it is. And it's no different here. And to be fair, this is what you do. Like this is like you do this to your close friends. You do this to your mother.
Do what?
You cut them out, or if something is not, if you don't like the relationship, you'll just end it. You're like, hey, this is not. So it's like it happens with your sister. It happens with me. You know, occasionally. Like,
It's not about my sister.
oh yeah,
I've
you
never
go through.
ended the relationship.
No. I'm not saying end it. I'm just saying I'm not saying ending it entirely. I'm just saying like this is what you do, right? If someone you don't like or is around you, you'll just cut ties with them. It's not always explicit, in this instance, but you know, and if it serves you or it's helpful to the relationship, whatever it is, to get back in like good graces with that person and become friends again, then you'll also do that. Like it's not out of character is the thing that I'm.
But I
is
think
the
you're
point that I'm
confusing two
making.
things. I mean, yeah. So if I think there's any like, if a relationship in my mind is over or it's not fruitful anymore, then I will just go my separate ways. I don't like make some dramatic thing about it. Like if I have to fire someone, like I just fired someone today, like or yesterday. It's like I just do it because that's just what has to happen, you know, like for business reasons, but also like for personal reasons. Like if a relationship is just not fruitful anymore, like I won't make a big deal about it and be like, I'm no longer friends with you. I'll just like ghost them basically and then just like become acquaintances and then move on with my life. You know, that's just like what I do. Like I am very what's the word? Like I think my time is of great value, so I'll only spend it on people who I think are also of great value, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And if I don't feel like a relationship, I'm giving into a relationship, and I'm also getting something out from a relationship, I'll end the relationship. And I don't feel an obligation, whether they're blood, whether they work for me, whether they worked for me for a long time, or anything. I don't feel the obligation to continue on with something if it's just not working.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone should. I mean, like
But I
life
think
is
most
so
people
short.
do,
Why
but it's
would
the
you?
point.
Like,
yeah, but I think that's
but that
what
is
makes you.
very much my personality type. Like
Yeah.
I'm very blunt in that way. I'm not mean. Like that email I sent to let what's her name go. Like I just was just like very honest. I just said, hey, I have an issue with this. I found it to be really inappropriate. Therefore, we can no longer work together. See you later. You know, best of wishes or like whatever. Like I don't know. I don't have an issue doing that. I guess and that.
Yeah, you drop the hammer.
Yeah, I will drop. I will. Yeah, I will.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like it's nothing. I support you, right? You have your
Yeah.
reasons, and the thing is like that where like we a lot of our discussions are based out of like if you have something and you talk to your partner, it's like you're trying to convince your partner of your side, and that's not what you should be doing. Like you don't need me to pile in on your.
No, yeah.
You don't need me to be your echo chamber. Right, I will be your.
Although sometimes
I
it
will
would
give
be
you
nice,
my,
but Max
Yeah.
definitely does not do that.
But that
He's
to
not
me,
an
there's
echo
no
chamber
value
guy.
in that. There's no value in that if I was like, and that creates friction in itself, right? Because if I come to
Yeah.
you with something and I'm like, Nancy, I'm so stoked about this, and I just want you to be like, oh my God, this is fucking brilliant. But you're like, yeah, I don't know. I think this, and it's like, God damn it. Like, so it's hard.
Usually one of his business ideas.
Well, yeah, but the thing is like it's oftentimes I find in marriages that both like the spouse is always right. It just takes time for the other person to realize it.
Yeah.
And that's happened a lot. I mean, a lot of it's kind of back towards mine because that was you for a long time. And I'd be like, no, Nancy, like you're wrong, all this stuff. And as it goes on, I'm like, fuck, she was right about like a lot of this shit. Like I should have just listened earlier. But it's the same thing as me. It's like, and that's really frustrating. It's kind of flipped over the last couple of years. And it's like, you're on your own path. There's nothing I'm going to say or do to be able to change your mind. I can just keep being myself. And you can keep being yourself, and we'll always meet in the middle because we are different sides of the same coin. And you know, that's challenging, right? Because you want the other person to be able to see as clearly and objectively as what you see, but oftentimes that just takes time.
Yeah.
And I think the longer we're together, the shorter that time is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. The thing with my mom, though, guys, that had been coming for like decades. Is baby 3 coming after your nose? I don't know. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it seems to always get pushed back by a month for odd reasons.
I just want to go in at 100%. You know what I mean?
You're at 100%.
Past lives the two of you have been in together. We've actually been married. This is our 3rd time being married in a life, so we've been told. And I believe it.
So
Our
you've been
last
told.
lifetime together. Now I'm going to get into my religion that Max says isn't a real religion, but I'm going to tell you right now it fucking is.
Okay.
I hate when he says that. Our last lifetime together. This is going off deep. If you don't like this or you're judgy about it, like whatever, like you can stop watching, I guess. Our last lifetime together, we were married in the early 1900s, right around the Titanic era, and we lived in New York City. I came from a very rich family. At that time, women didn't really go to college, but I did, and I worked heavily in women's rights. Ironically, with getting birth control to women that were poor in New York who couldn't get access, and like their husbands just like wanted to keep having sex, and they keep having baby after baby after baby after baby, because like back then you'd have like 7, 8, 9 kids, and they didn't want to have any more kids, so I would like get them birth control. It was like the new birth control that was like coming out. It was like on the black market or whatever, and Max was like super supportive to that like mission of mine. I did a lot of like community, not like community service, but like activist, I guess you would say. I haven't been able to figure out like the name of that woman in that life, and it wasn't the lady that created the birth control, which I know she's like sort of famous. It wasn't her. It was someone else. And then Max and I did a lot of traveling in that lifetime together, and we didn't have any kids together, but we got married in like our early 30s, which was like really late to get married back then. I had really good parents, which would, that was nice to hear that at some point I did have really good parents. And Max pretty much doesn't believe any of this, but he basically dedicated his life in that life to helping me reach my dreams, which was to be like a women's activist and to get them birth control. And it's really interesting because basically the same pattern in that life is also happening in this life. Like he left his career to like help me reach my dreams and like my mission, which I believe is improving the standard of care for women and moms, obviously. So it was just really interesting to hear from this medium, this life, because she doesn't know what I do for a living in this life, but what she was describing in that life and our relationship and dynamic and how he was towards me is literally like our dynamic in this life, which I found to be like very interesting. So that's probably my favorite lifetime that I'm aware of that we were in together, I think.
Mine is this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Max doesn't believe in the other ones. That's why. Let's see. Max seems to B&W for all your woo-woo. How do you guys manage?
What does that mean?
What's B&W mean? Max seems to B&W.
Let's
like
Google it.
Yeah.
Max seems to
Have you had
black
any
and
blowback?
white?
Oh, yeah. Black and white. That's probably what it is. Max seems too black and white for all your woo-woo. How do you guys manage? Just like you saw. I just say my truth and whatever it is, and he just kind of smiles and nods, but inside
Well, I just know
he's
better
like,
than to
this
ask
bitch
questions.
is crazy.
Well, no, I just know better than to ask questions. So like so normally the interactions would go like you would tell me this thing and I would ask a question about it and you'd be like,
He would try
"Oh,
to
you just
debunk
don't believe
me,
any
is
of
what he
it."
would
And I'm
say.
like, "No,
he
I'm just
wouldn't
trying
ask
to understand
questions. He would try to debunk.
Oh, I'm just asking for like consistent logic across the thing. I'm like, "Well, how do you think that like that would be?" And now I just know like, "Oh,
Not
that's
everything
cool."
can be explained, Max.
Oh, I agree with that.
Okay, let's
Agree
talk
with
about space. I can prove that very easily. Have you had any blowback from your mom after airing the podcast episode? No. She's not on any social media. She doesn't even basically know what I do for a living, guys. I know that's probably crazy to think about. My mother-in-law has probably done most of my plans that aren't about pregnancy and is so supportive. She's done the slim down. She implements a lot of protocols that are in there. She sees my functional medicine doctor. She's lost 30 pounds. She's getting so healthy.
She's your number one fan.
She's 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 everything I'd ever want my birth mom to be, as far as support with a career goes and believing in me and being proud of me in that way. And but it's, I get it from somewhere, just not my birth mom, so that's good. But yeah, no, I blocked her numbers. I blocked her. She does have one social media thing that I did block, but I don't think she ever looked at it anyway. And then, yeah, she's not on the internet. She doesn't know what any of this stuff is, so she would never hear it. Some of my family members probably would hear it, but I doubt they'd even, I don't know. I don't think they would even say anything to her, and if they did, she would, just talk shit about me behind my back. She would never come to me and say anything. I don't think. At least she never has. Let's see. Let's do maybe one more. We're at 57 minutes. Do you find it easy to be transparent and honest in business and marriage? Is one easier?
Oh man, that's an easy one.
I mean, I'm just an open book. Even if I don't want to be an open book, I wear my emotions on my sleeve, so it's really hard to keep stuff from him. You see right through me, basically. What do you think?
I think it's extremely easy to be transparent in business.
Yeah. Well, and marriage, right?
Nah, I don't. Not marriage.
Well,
not
he
so
has a hard
much.
time talking about his emotions. I don't, but
Yeah.
in business, it's we just
Yeah,
both
we could
are
actually talk
really.
about your emotions a little bit less. That would be.
Yeah, Max
would be
hates
nice.
it because I'm like a pendulum. I if I'm really happy, I'm really happy, and if I'm really upset, I'm really upset. not like in an unhealthy way. I have a full range of emotions, and that's just my personality type. And Max doesn't. Like, he has a hard time showing emotion.
Well, I just manage them. That's where I think that's unfair because I just
Don't
manage
say
them better.
no. It's
I
not
think that's
managing
true.
them better. It's
That's not-
expression.
Okay. This is, I mean,
It's
I think
expression.
we're arguing semantics, but
No, I'm not
it's-
arguing semantics. If you talk to my therapist, she would say the exact same thing.
yeah, but I think men and women process emotions differently. I think men are much more stoic by nature than women are. And I'm not saying because I think I can manage my emotions that I'm better than you. I would argue that I could do a much better job expressing them. But that's what I think what I've learned over the past couple of years is that I think that men, or I view myself as not having these emotions. Or I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm managing them better, which if you just keep them internal, I don't know if that's necessarily managing them better. So you need to have an outlet for it. But it is, I think it's on average, it's difficult to be around just people in general who are much more unpredictable emotionally.
Yeah.
And just across the board, not just like you specifically, but like just say in general, like a friend or like acquaintance or whatever it is. That is challenging for people to be around. And I think a lot of people gravitate towards people who are more steadfast in regulating their emotions. I think just speaking to men, a huge issue in our society is men just burying their emotions and never addressing them and not having the words and the communications. I mean, I think that's are the tools to manage them. But I mean, that's where you have been so instrumental in my development as a person, is like beating them out of me, for lack of a better term.
Oh, I won't let it go.
And yeah.
We can sit here all day. What's going on in there? Let's talk about it.
yeah. And a lot of times you don't want to hear that, right? A lot of times you don't want to hear, I mean, especially on the business side. I mean, the business side, I have no problems with it. And I think that, again, so I think that creates a whole other set of problems. So I think it's a spectrum that needs to be managed versus, this way is right, this way is wrong.
Yeah.
Because I have zero problems being, like, asserting my opinion in business, and you emotionally are not ready or prepared to hear or handle a lot of what I have to say.
Well, Max also is not great at delivering information. He delivers it in such a blunt way that it comes off, it really hurts my feelings. Like, this is the thing. You can't really hurt my feelings unless I really love you. And I don't really love a lot of people. So with Max, he says, I'm so sensitive. I'm this bad bitch to everyone else.
Yeah.
Like, I say fuck everyone. Like, if they're talking shit about me, whatever, I'll cut people off. But I'm such a little, like, bitch with him. Like, I'm just so sensitive and I'm so emotional and blah, blah, blah. But the thing is that's such a compliment that he doesn't even know, because that just shows how much I love him and how much I let my guard around. I let my guard down around him. Like, I don't let my guard down around people. Like, even people that are, like, friends with me. Like, I always keep everyone at arm's length. And that's really just to protect myself from, like, my own past, like, my childhood or whatever. So it's really a huge compliment that I'm so emotional with him and that he has the ability with just his tone to hurt my feelings. But he doesn't really see it that way. I do want to ask one last question.
So, sorry, on that. That is a really great quote, because I saved this yesterday on the same topic that I thought about you. And it says, everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. And I feel like I'm the only one. It's an honor, personally. With all the hardship and everything else, it's far more rewarding than it is difficult. But that's why I feel like I'm the only person on earth who knows who you really are. I mean, Jenny, your sister.
I'm not like putting on a front. That's not.
No.
We don't want to say it like that. But like,
but you are, though, because everyone puts on a sort of front. Like no one, like I'm not saying a front is like you're fake.
Yeah.
You would have to spend so much time with someone
Yeah.
to know that real person. Like people that know me and you see like on a game or on teammates, right? I would only know me through this lens. No one knows you to the level of which I know you.
Yeah.
Right. So I see everything.
I think same
not
about
just
you.
the Instagram. Yeah. No. Correct.
You
I'm
know?
not saying. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
But I'm saying not just the Instagram, not just the sorority sister, not just the sport athlete. Right. I see everything for the last 10 years, and I thought that was an interesting quote. That's
Yeah,
why
I love
share
it.
Sorry.
That's a good quote. Okay. Last question is: tell us the truth. Do you like the finger in the butt?
Me? No. Wait, do I? I don't know. When's the last time you tried? You
Well,
definitely.
when
you
I
definitely
tickle
do.
around it,
no,
he
you
starts
definitely
moaning,
do.
so.
You definitely do.
I'm gonna tell you something honestly. Max has this obsession with my butthole. I'm not sure why, but he really loves my butt. Eating my butt, touching my butt. It's the whole thing.
You like it.
I don't.
You
love it.
do.
I don't.
Oh, are you serious?
I mean, it's fun. It tickles. I'm like, it tickles, But it's not like I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to get like fucked in the ass. Like that's not really my like cup of tea. Like besides his dick's a little thick for that. So
Or your butthole's too small.
yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess that butthole's small.
That's
But
the question
he's
you're
got
gonna
a lot
end
of
on.
hair down there, guys. He's not great with grooming. So like I don't adventure really in
Yeah, you might get your
the
finger
back
trapped.
hole that much. I might it's a finger trap. There may be
Yeah.
like some hemorrhoids. I'm not sure what's going on down there, but it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. So I like stay away from that. Like but if you were like more groomed down there, like I would be open to like adventure a little bit. Maybe not with my mouth,
Yeah,
but like
that's not
maybe with some
selling it.
fingers.
Yeah, no, that's not. I'm good.
I got rings too.
Yeah,
A little extra
yeah.
flavor. A little extra
I'd let you
sensation.
know.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say no. Neither one of us. We're kind of.
That's the question you're gonna end on.
I thought it was a good question. I thought it was a funny question to end on. It's not. Do you have anything that you would like to share?
No.
I
Any
think
other
that's.
gems?
Huh?
Are there any other gems in
I mean,
there?
there's just a lot of questions. It's hard to like find, but there's a lot. There's also a lot of repeats. Like a lot of people asking about like finances and stuff. Maybe we'll do a whole episode on
Yeah,
finances.
I'd be curious to see what people what specifically about finance, because that's like a. I mean, we talk about this all the time. You're like, hey, is the market going up? Yes or no? And I'm like, well, it's multivariate. And you're like, no. I just want to know yes or no. And it's like, okay, well, like you can't. That's not how the world works. But it's like if people have like specific things about finance, I could talk finance all day long.
Yeah.
But like specific topics, right?
Yeah.
Like why buying a house is really dumb. Get
Yeah.
all the
No, that's so
rabble
true.
rousing.
There is one question here. Maybe you'll like it. Do you feel the constant pressure to keep up with the Joneses? If not, how do
Oh.
you avoid it?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
No, not even
I don't feel it
close.
at all. I mean,
Not
I
even
drive
close.
a Hyundai, guys. Like, I
Well,
don't give
I
a
mean,
fuck.
Yeah.
What?
You just canceled your Tesla. It's not like you.
I did. I ordered a Tesla, but then I got cold feet and I canceled it because it just felt ridiculous that I would spend $100,000 on a car.
Yeah.
Like,
That causes a friction.
no matter
in a
how much
relationship.
money you make, I just feel like for me, I just not into cars that way. I'll spend money on other stuff. Like I'll spend a lot of money on health and like self-care, and that's something that's really important to me that I really enjoy. So it's worth it to me. And the more I thought about the Tesla, the more I was like, this isn't really worth it to me to spend this much money. Like I don't even drive that much. I don't really care about having like a Tesla or like a luxury car or whatever you would say. It's just like, fuck it. I'm just going to cancel it. Besides, like it got delayed and it went up in price and it was like $135,000. I'm like, just too much for me, So yeah, I cancel it. I mean, I have way bougier taste than Max, but that has nothing to do with where I live or how much money I make or my success or anything. I've always been like that. Like I've always, obviously I had to stick with my budget, whatever I was like making, but like
Yeah.
I'm always have been extremely driven by money.
Yeah.
And
But
that
you've
comes
also
from childhood.
correct. But I think what's unique is that you've also made money, right? I think a lot
Yeah.
of it'd be much more difficult if, let's just say, I was the primary breadwinner and you were just wanting to spend money all the time, or you expected to continue to spend money, or if vice versa, right? Like if I expected I didn't work with you and I was like, I expect to drive these really nice cars and
Yeah, that can
I'm not
create
making
some
any money. That would
issues.
create so much friction.
Yeah.
But you've always brought home the bacon.
Yeah.
And it's more been principle, right? But yeah, it's interesting though, because people I think probably wonder about our lifestyle, and we live so far below our means.
Yeah.
That people might not realize that.
Yeah.
And we're so smart with money.
Thanks to Max.
Intention. Yeah. Well, it's not hard, but the thing is, like, I view money like you view nutrition.
Although I've never been bad with money. I'll work. I mean, come on. I'll work myself into the ground to have the amount of money that I want.
You've never been
basically, is what I've always-
irresponsible. You've never been
Yeah,
irresponsible.
no, I've never. Yeah,
There's
I've
a
never
difference
been
between being
irresponsible.
bad with money, being irresponsible, and being good.
Yeah,
in
that's
my
probably
book.
true. I guess
a
I
lot
was
of
bad
people,
with money, and then Max taught me a lot.
Well, you didn't have any financial literacy. That's what people don't understand.
Okay.
No. Oh, I'm just saying. But I'm not bringing it down. But I'm saying there's a difference, right? People think like, oh, with this money, it's like most people are financially illiterate.
Yeah.
Like it's not something we teach. It's not something that we really
Well,
accept
yeah,
as
when
a
I was
society.
27 when I met you, yeah. I mean, I didn't
I'm
understand.
not digging
Yeah.
at you. I mean, it's not.
Now I'm
just-
offended.
Okay.
Now
See,
I'm offended.
But my point is, our philosophy is for that question is like, who the fuck cares about the Joneses? Like,
Yeah, I don't
like
give a
we
shit.
never look at other people and are like, oh wow, Like I would just, and
So stupid.
that's why I've been here since I was young. I would never trade places with any single person
No.
I know. We've never looked at someone and be like, oh, it'd be
Well,
so good
in
to
high
be
school,
them.
I used to look at the rich kids and be like, God, their life's so easy. Like, they have a nice car. They have spending money for clothes. They can go on vacation. Like, I couldn't do any of that stuff. Like, it all had to come from my $6 an hour job. I mean, it was like, I used to look at other people and be like, God, her life is so much better than mine. Like, I'm over here, like, grinding to, like, pay my car insurance. I'm like, this fucking sucks. But that ended very quickly. Once I got out of school and I started actually like really making like having a job, then I was like, fuck everyone. Like I was so focused on succeeding, I didn't care. And what I also noticed is like all those kids that I was like envious of in high school all went to rehab. Some of them died because they overdosed, and none of them have really accomplished like anything. So then I realized how thankful I was that I didn't have that, because I probably wouldn't be nearly as driven as I was if I had done that, you know, or if I had had that life, I guess. So like in a way, like I don't like really look at myself as a victim at all. Like how like, my dad committed suicide, he was an addict, like all these things. He wasn't really around that much when I was younger, mental health issues. And I'm actually so thankful for that, because if I didn't have that dad, and even if I didn't have the mom that I had, you know, given the good and the bad, because there's good and bad with both of them, you know, like it's not all bad, you know, you know, my dad died obviously 17 years ago, and then my mom recently, I decided it's just better if we go our separate ways and I don't have a relationship with her. But that doesn't mean that everything she ever did for me was bad. That doesn't mean that she hadn't given me a lot of great things in life. That's not it. But overall, both of them, given everything they did good and all their shortcomings, really made me who I was. And I don't think I would have been, I can't explain the level of ambition that lives inside of my body. And it's like, when I was younger, it was all driven based off of one thing, and that was proving everyone wrong, that I can fucking do it. I will prove you wrong. I will make it, and I will succeed, and I will show you that I am worth it, or that I am enough, or like whatever. And that's not probably, I mean, that's not the mindset I have anymore, but that was what drove me for a very long time. And it worked. Like it worked. And I'm really thankful, honestly, for the childhood that I had, because if I would have grown up in that cushy family, I bet you I'd be living off like a trust fund right now, or doing something like that just isn't fulfilling. And I'm so passionate about what I do. Like it's just like I wake up every day like excited to work, because I get to like grow this business and help more people. And then even the people that work for me, it's like I get to help them have a job that they like, or a job that they like enjoy, and like that helps their life. And like it's just, you know, I'm really passionate about what I do, and I really love it. And you know, I wouldn't be here without my dad being who he was, or without my mom being who she was, for better or worse. And you know, one of the reasons we live on the beach here in California, this is not like a typical neighborhood. We like refuse to live in the typical neighborhoods around here, even though that's where all like the kids live and the families live and whatever, because it is a lot of that keeping up with the Joneses bullshit, the gossip, the competing for like Christmas decorations, and whose house is nicer, and whose garden this, and whose pool that. It's like fucking, I don't care about any of that shit. Like I love it down here by the beach, because no one cares if you're worth 50 million or 50 bucks.
Yeah.
Like no one cares. And the thing is you would never know. You go on the beach out here, you talk to our neighbors, you have no idea what they're sitting on. But if you go up into the neighborhoods, you have an idea, because the cars, the houses, the toys, who they are, what do they do? Oh, so-and-so is in commercial real estate. So-and-so is a movie producer. And it's like, we're just not about that life. We never really have been. Like, I'm not a jealous person, like at all.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting to me is everything you just described is, you know, I'm so like just hearing you say it, because that same ambition and desire is this exact same that I have, and I'm from a whole different world than you grew up. Like I would live that what you called like cushy and stuff, but Max
was a rich kid.
But I still have these. Well, you get made fun of for being rich.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even that rich. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I just, you know, it's all relative, right?
Yeah.
There's always somebody richer than you. There's always somebody poorer than you, no matter how rich or how poor you are.
Yeah.
But I have that same thing, and I came from an entirely different family dynamic than you did. And that's why I'm like, hearing that, I'm like, fucking me too. And I'm like, I'm really thankful that I found you. Or we found each other.
Thanks, babe. I love you.
I love you
That's
too.
a good note to end on. All right, thanks, guys. If you liked it, let us know. If you want to see different topics, like let us know in the comment section what you want us to cover, because we'll do more like structured podcasts from here on out, where we have like, okay, we're going to cover this topic today, and eventually maybe we'll have like guests and stuff. But for now, it'll probably be like us two, and like Bree will get a mic eventually. We just got to figure out our sound thing a little bit better. So yeah, thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening. If you've done it up to this point, we love you guys so much. We're so grateful for you, and we'll see you next time.